You know, if we fuck up and have a weird moment, you can cut it, but it's not like we need to, because
I can match them up pretty easily.
yeah.
So
I always wonder that. Do they like match up like facial expression? Like then they link it and try to get it as close as possible? Or
no,
what?
that's just me.
Oh,
That's
okay.
me
Yeah.
doing the work, hitting stop, start until I can figure out and get to get it to look right. So
Yeah.
it does look
It's cool,
right.
man. Yeah,
So how are you, man?
doing well. It's been a roller coaster since getting back from Nevada. I lived there for 2 years.
Yeah.
I worked in the cannabis industry, legal cannabis industry.
Okay. Well, thank God. There's the legal side.
Yeah, no, it's
Gee.
legal, you know, recreational and medicinal, but we did, I was the security side, so we did a lot of planning and prepping, and it's cool, though, helping a lot of people, you know.
What in the industry did you do? Were you
Security programming, and just sitting at the door and, you know, basic day-to-day stuff. But,
okay?
you know, I was doing that thinking after the Marine Corps that it was going to be the right decision, you know. I was like, well, I'm working in cannabis, doing security, this is going to be great. And after 2 years, I still wasn't happy, you know.
Oh, really?
Like, what the hell is going on? Why do I still feel this inside, you know? And I said, if I'm going to be this stressed all the time, I might as well, you know, find something that I want to do.
Right.
Independently, you know.
What do you think it was that was missing? Could you at the time kind of pinpoint that, like?
Not at all.
Because it seemed like you were in personally you felt like you were doing the right thing and should be feeling a certain way, but there was that lack of something.
Yeah, there was, you know. It's just kind of the rat race, run around, pay bills, go to work, come home, pay bills, go to work, come home, and I needed to do something more. It's just that inner fulfillment more than money, because I was making good money, making good hourly wage, doing the whole day to day that everybody would accept you for, you know.
Right.
It still was just like dry. Wasn't enough. You know? So I needed more. When I say more, I mean I needed to fulfill my own
personal
needs more.
Exactly.
And what do I enjoy, you know? So then, you know, fast forward a year, you got the Gallery Lounge, and it's awesome, man.
The Gallery Lounge is a very cool place. If anybody has not been here, highly recommend checking it out, because the pieces here are very cool, and it's honestly something that I was not expecting in a good way.
Yeah, in a small town like Palmyra, you know, it's like, okay, we got 4 churches on each corner.
Yeah.
And then you come down to this little brick building, and it's like, oh, Gallery Lounge. It's probably some ritzy wannabe place. You know, art gallery in Palmyra, New York, you know.
Yep.
But you come in, and it's, you know, we warm you up, but it's just my studio. That was what I was looking for. I'd always been creative. I was always the guy to be told, shut up, your idea's crazy. But I don't have to worry about that anymore, you know?
Yeah.
My house is 400 feet to the left of us right now.
Your idea might be crazy, but it's working.
But other people have those crazy ideas, and I was crazy because I almost had a breakdown. When it came in the time when I had to talk to the landlord, who is now my landlord, we sat down as me and my mom. We had the paperwork. We were just going to go over the contract. I wanted to make sure it looked good, and I was going to measure up a couple other places. But none of them were like this. None of them were renovated. None were brand new. None had a garage. So there were a lot of cool aspects. And right now I could walk home. I walk here all the time.
Yeah.
So it was like this beacon of hope, you know.
That's a very...
Yeah, we got an auto shop down there. They rev a bunch of hot rods and do crazy stuff.
I can hear that.
Yeah.
I can hear that. And it almost just seems like it was like a new beginning almost.
Oh, absolutely. It's a rebirth for sure. Because, you know, moving to the desert, I was in Las Vegas for a year working at The Source, which was a recreational and medicinal cannabis dispensary. So it was like an Apple store. I mean, it was beautiful. All white, glass, high-end cannabis. You could smell it. There were little testers and tubes.
Yeah.
And, you know, you couldn't test it in the store, but you could pop the lid and smell it. You could look at it. They had a little magnifying glass. It was really cool. It was interactive.
Yeah.
There were patient advisors that could help everybody figure out what products were best for them. And I was security, but we were still helping people, and it was excellent to see that side of things, and providing a value for people. It's really cool.
Yeah. For sure. So where was that, in Nevada or?
Yeah, Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
And then within the same company, after a year of the dispensary, I was getting that little, I don't know if this is gonna, here, I want to get that light for you.
Oh no, it wasn't the light. Actually, I was worried about, I wanted to make sure that the audio was picking you up, because
Yeah,
when I was looking at it, I could tell that it was picking me up pretty well.
Watching spikes.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if it was picking you up, so I just wanted to make sure it's a little up. There we go. Just putting it.
There we go.
So that'd be best. So.
Check. There's our spike right
We're
there.
good.
All right, we're good, guys.
We're live. We're live, baby.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, we're working this out. I'm so glad Colin was able to come in and ask me to do this. It's cool that he traveled to my shop here, the Gallery Lounge in Palmyra, and we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. We're not sure how long it'll go, but feel free to chime in and out whenever you please. It's really interesting here. We talk about flow state. I have a huge canvas here, 8 feet by 3 feet or so. It says flow. And that's kind of what we're going to get into today. It's going to be the flow state and how I even get into the mindset of creating the artwork. So I'm really happy. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's cool. I think podcasting is the new frontier. Nobody's on, rovers too much anymore,
Right.
if you're driving to work or not. But if you're not in a car, you're not listening to radio.
No.
And podcast is that next step. So thank you, man. Thank you.
I appreciate the good words, and
Can't
thank
do
you.
this on radio.
No, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I appreciate you for having me here too.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I'm somebody who loves new experiences.
Yeah.
Getting to do things that most people don't typically get to do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And not only through podcasting can we, potentially help share some valuable information that other people can use, but, by doing that, it helps me get to connect and interact with more awesome people like Jesse.
Creative minds.
Right, and get to travel and see new things, and just sharing that progression, sharing that journey with people is it's really what.
And it happens in weird ways too, you know what I mean? It's not like it's this linear process. It's a lot of back and forth, a couple steps forward, lots of steps back, couple steps forward.
Steps forward, steps
but
back.
It's the faith and consistency and how you feel along the way, and enjoying that process for what it is.
Right.
And that process is life.
Right.
We can't just rely on that destination.
Right. And since you were talking about flow state too, I feel like that's something that everybody feels it, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
When you're doing something and you have that feeling of this is great, this is this is something I'm super passionate about, or you have that almost like gut feeling of something doesn't necessarily feel right, and even if it's not right, it may not totally mean that it's completely bad. Yeah,
you're just working through your processes, you know? And it's the point of being and not thinking, feeling and not thinking, I say, you asked me earlier, you said, what are you thinking about when you're doing the art? I can't think of anything, because as soon as I think of something, I have a crooked line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's that fine line of being, non-being, and Alan Watts talks a lot about that. He's great. I listen to him all the time. They have some cool, updated electronic dubstep remixes.
What's his name?
Alan Watts. He was in the 60s and 70s. He may have passed away I believe he passed away in 76, 74, early 70s. But he brought kind of the idea of Eastern methodology and Zen Buddhism to the West from the East. He's born in UK, England, Britain.
So what did he do?
He's essentially, he was a priest, a pastor. He had been in a lot of different practices and upbringings in religion, and realized they were all dry and wanted to find something more. So he discovered Zen practice, the practice of being, the practice of life, that like the life's practice, You may be going about your day to day, but are you aware of it? Are you conscious of it?
Yeah. There's a really good book that I read. Have you heard of Eckhart Tolle?
Mm-hmm.
So have you, there's a book that helped me out a lot. It's called The Power of Now.
So
okay.
I'll go grab this.
Maybe we'll read a little page out of it. It's not Eckhart Tolle's. This is Ram Dass's "Be Here Now," but similar concept. I want to grab it just to show.
All right. So for anybody listening, the Power of Now essentially is what it is. Eckhart Tolle went around the world studying, culture, studying the mindset of quote unquote enlightened people, and wanted to find the similarities between each of them. And one of the things that he found was that for a lot of people, they spend a lot of time either worrying about the past, so worrying about things that they may have done, worried about, what people might be thinking about them, or what, how other people are feeling, or
how
things
they're
that have already
perceiving
happened.
Them. Yeah, absolutely.
And then also anxious about the things that are going to happen in the future. If you have a deadline next week, or you have some event that you have to get planned for, or whatever the case might be. And so what happens is that people spend so much of their time worried about things in the past, or thinking about things that haven't even hit yet.
Yeah.
But what he shows is that the past and the future really don't matter.
They don't exist, because the only moment is now, and the now is this kind of never-ending leapfrog of moment,
Right.
moment. And you can be present for each moment. If you have attention to breath and you're a conscious human being. Mm-hmm. It's very simple, but it's hard to be consistent.
It's very hard to be consistent.
And in those moments, you realize the monkey in the mind, the monkey mind, the brain chatter, the mind chatter, whatever you want to call it, I can't stop thinking, I can't stop. That's monkey mind.
Yeah.
When your eyebrow gets tight and you're squinting and you're thinking and running around in your head, is monkey mind. Get out of monkey mind. How do you feel? Take a deep breath, return the attention to present moment experience.
Right.
And I would assume, not reading Eckhart Tolle's, but I would know that be here now.
Yeah.
And, that's why I wanted to bring this, because this was Ram Dass's Be Here Now. And he just passed away, which was unfortunate, but this was really cool. My friend Angel gave me this book, and it gives a lot of kind of meditative type practices, and some thinking points of just acting as a human on Earth. You know what I mean? We can get caught up in the rat race and run around and think we're doing the right things, but we're only here for minute amount of time, so might as well do what you want to do, and you do create your own reality. Our thoughts are power. What you wake up and tell yourself in the morning is important. Mm-hmm. It's not no more about your thoughts are just this runaround. No, your thoughts are power, and you have the power to return your attention to present moment experience and smell a book, touch it, flip the pages. And we lose that with technology, and it's funny because it's a conundrum. We're using technology to do this podcast, but here we are, knocking it, and it's taking you out of the present moment. But we can only ever be in the present moment, even when we're worried about past and present, or past and future. You know, so it's funny. We think we're so away from ourselves at these times of stress and distress, and we've only ever been our whole being in those moments, in every moment. But the only difference is the thought that we give each moment. That's what gives it the power.
Right.
What moments do you give mental attentiveness to?
Right. And one of the things, this is one of the things that I've learned kind of along my journey of these past 5 or 6 years, where I've almost had like my own sort of personal journey leading me up to this moment.
That's amazing.
And one of the things that I didn't realize, or I never thought of, was that sort of what Jesse was saying, is that your thoughts do have power. Your words do have power.
Legitimately, you think of a bad situation, you feel bad. Your body reminded you of a a low vibrational situation. You feel that vibration. It's lower than how you're feeling in the present moment.
Now,
or you think of a good situation, you feel, oh, that was a good memory. That's all memory based. It's all thought based.
Right, and that actually will then affect you for the rest of the day and the rest of the day.
The rest of your life.
Yeah.
Conditioning from a memory as a kid and what your dad said or what your mom said. That sticks with us.
Right.
And
so for those thoughts, for me at least, I never thought that those thoughts really carried power.
Me too. I thought I could think whatever I wanted and it was just in my own head.
Or the habits I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
But the thing, what it is though, is that they do have power. They don't have a tremendous, over a period of time, they do have a tremendous...
They have this snowball effect.
Exactly.
Where it gets stronger and stronger, and then it rolls into self-confidence and dropping the ego and doing things because you think it's going to gain a proper response instead of just doing it because it applies value to human beings.
Right.
Or others, animals and whatnot.
Oh. Jeez, you breaking my
Did you
shit.
guys hear that?
Breaking my
I'm handsy. I'm not Italian. I'm Irish. But I'm handsy. I move around a lot.
All right. No, that's good. So, all right, we're good.
Excellent. No, it's wonderful, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Really, I do.
Yeah.
Because we can be casual. This isn't scripted. We didn't plan any of this, guys. If you're watching.
Wait, I totally planned this whole thing out. What are you talking about?
Oh, you did? Oh, shit. I wasn't supposed to tell them.
Yeah, no.
Guys, seriously. He walked in. We haven't seen each other in 3 years. I used to work out at Gold's Gym in Fairport. Great gym, by the way. George, owner, operator.
Hey, George, owner, yeah.
Me and Colin worked out, and I used to be 60 pounds heavier.
George.
What's up, Georgie? 60 pounds heavier. I'm 180 now. I was 240, and I was a big dude, and I was working hard, and even then, lack of fulfillment. Or at that point, I think I was just drained.
Yeah.
You see me in Half Lotus now. This took 3 years to develop. This wasn't a comfortable position. But I'm also the most flexible I've ever been in my life. So I may not be big and huge and competing anymore, but I'm still, proper body fat. I'm flexible. I feel good. It's finding those balances. I needed balance in my life. I didn't have that.
And the thing is, well, for me too, when we're talking about these things through this recording or through the show, it's not saying that, you might be able to help me out with this. It's not that we're saying that there's only one way to be living a fulfilled and happy life. There's many different ways. So when we describe the things that are fulfilling to us, doesn't necessarily mean that they might.
That's very objective to our experiences and what get us going.
But through that too, though, you could take certain nuggets away. Yeah. And
I'm an artist with a paintbrush, but you could be a welder with his MIG.
Yeah.
You could be a carpenter with his saw.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do, but it's the state of mind while doing it which creates that flow state. Mm-hmm. You could be reading a book. You could be sitting in class. You could be sitting in traffic. You could be driving your car. You could be waiting for the bus to come around. You could be waiting on your boss because he said he'd be here in 20 minutes and he ain't. Well, guess what? Mm-hmm. Bring the attention to now and just look at the clouds. Look at the sky.
Right, for that time being.
Experience life.
Enjoy it.
That's what I needed again. After the Marine Corps, I served 5 years in the Marine Corps, and I did a lot of preparations for Afghanistan. They never sent me, so I ended up going embassy security, and that's where my security career kind of took off. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting, being with the high end diplomats and the State Department individuals, and
because you had a
handful of Marines at an embassy in charge of 300 people. My life of responsibilities started really young, 20 years old, and you're responsible for people's lives.
Wow.
Like, these people are 40, 50 years old, not all of them, obviously, but the ones that have been in those communities for a long time, that's their life. And here you are, 20 years old, coming in, hey, I'm here to protect you. It was just these weird feelings as a young kid going through these with no no one by your side. I say that because my brothers were always by my side, but you're still there by yourself from your hometown, away from parents, going through life's experiences.
Right, you have your own life.
Yeah.
Things are going.
Luckily, I wasn't as I guess the kids nowadays say woke as I was. I'm glad I wasn't while in the Marine Corps. I'm glad I was able to put my nose down and put that to the wind.
Right.
And only be ego-based. What action will cause the best response, and how can I be an appropriate assistant to society, and how do I not get other people killed? Those were our main worries. It was how not to get my buddy killed,
Right.
He eats his Doritos really loud, Brandon. But, we don't want him, we would always be there to back them up.
Right.
And then you get out, and it's like, oh, you're by yourself. Here's a wife, and, I have a kid on the way.
Right.
And it's a big process, It's a big change from what you thought the civilian life would be, because you're so used to just mandating a schedule.
Right.
Oh, I'll be here at this time, here at this time, here at this time. I can chill during these 2 hours, and then here at this time. There was always something to do, And then you get out, and you're kind of left for the wind, and it's like, there's support, but you're taught not to grab support. Because if you reach out for support, you're weak. And so there was this ego game, And,
right.
And art for me was the spear that just killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. Absolutely killed it. I mean, go back on any of my timelines on my social medias where I post a lot of this progress stuff, and it's you can watch it literally the days. You can see my first one, second one, third one, and then poof, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So. You coming in and asking me to do a podcast, it was really, it meant a lot because people saw that attention and that capability for change in self. They see me and see my wild paintings, and they go, oh, I could do that. But maybe that was their own thing, or crocheting, or just being a good employee at work.
Right.
I could easily take the focus I put into my paintings, go back into the world, get a job, get paid $30 an hour, go to work, be happy, pretend to be happy, fulfilled. I say happy as a fulfillment process.
Yeah.
So like when you say you're happy, are you fulfilling your higher purpose, what you're meant to be doing on planet Earth?
Right.
Our point of living is just to breathe. Other than that, let's provide value to other humans that might have it worse off or less off,
Yeah. And I feel like, not to kind of like jump back a little bit, but for a lot of people too, not in as extreme of situations as being like the military, where
that's just my example, my experience. Like you said, these are only our personal experiences, guys, and it's like that level of stress could relate to a car accident. That level of stress could relate to a home break-in or domestic abuse. We want to relate to everybody here. We want to let them know that it's okay to feel these things and experience these unfortunate situations, but to take that attention back to the present moment.
Right.
To work through it and not have it as a trigger point remaining for the rest of our lives. So, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I get into these
good.
kind of flow states. When I'm flowing, I don't think it kind of comes out. But
that's I mean,
we have to lead by example, and that was my biggest thing. It was like, hey, I am a little high energy. I do step a little much, if I get excited about something. But that's what we needed. We needed that excitement and that enthusiasm again.
Right, the spark.
And me just bringing that to the table brought in our enthusiasm for today, and now we're having a wonderful conversation. So it's cool.
Definitely.
The way our little crazy thoughts will actually come to fruition in this awesome situation.
Right. And so for the way that I think about it too, and I'm just going to try and help with kind of breaking it down maybe in like a different way to kind of take different approaches or different angles to it.
Please do, because mine's very cut and dry, kind of tough love-ish, and bringing that softness back into my attention.
So from the time that we're young, from the time that we're young adults, we have typically a lot of structure, which is a great thing. Structure is something that absolutely everybody needs, essentially.
Yeah, boundaries. Work within these parameters.
Although at a certain point, we almost become, what would be the word for it? Needing structure.
You rely on that structure.
Yeah, for that structure to come from outside sources.
And I speak of that a lot about like long-term military guys who have served for 20 years. They get out and have to work at a grocery store because they literally can't function without knowing what they have to do or being told what to do. And that structure.
And one of the most difficult things is being able to, well, find the thing that drives that passion for you, that creates that, that brings that fulfillment.
The higher purpose, the reason to wake up in the morning and not have angst and anxieties and worry and depression and, you know.
Because for a lot of people, what happens is that they have that idea or that thought and have all that excitement, but without any structure or any plan for that to actually come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's that level of structure that's needed.
Exactly. And so one of the most difficult things is finding that plan or creating that structure yourself, and then staying committed to it for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, when they get into, and I can speak from my personal experience as well on this, is that when you find something that it is that you really want to do, typically you get essentially punched in the mouth.
Well, when you let the universe know what you're wanting to do, it starts to throw obstacles in the way.
Yeah, and that is natural for a lot of people.
But we have to know that those are okay.
Yeah,
those are expected, and when they come, we laugh at them, we get through them, and there's always an option out. You know, you've made it this far, you're okay.
Yeah,
everybody's okay at this point.
Exactly.
You know,
and it's that resiliency and that commitment to your goals, to the things that you are passionate about, is what's really gonna, you know, as my brother says, separates the cupcakes and the Twinkies. You know, that's the thing.
Day-to-day decisions that dictate what your future or what your day-to-day activity is. You know what I mean? And it's like I said, I was getting nervous about signing for this place.
Yeah.
But there's those breakthrough moments where when we're the most scared, that's when the most time for growth is about to occur, or that brink of failure, of life or failure. You know, it's like that razor.
Yeah,
you know, you got to walk it.
Now, I mean, not everything too is gonna be that level of failure, right? No. A lot of times, like, it could be, you know,
and this isn't life or death. This is failure in our own egotistical beliefs and
right. So,
what does my mom think?
Right.
Is this approved? Should I go do that?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, you know, it may not be getting a gallery. It might be going to, you know, talk to a girl, right?
Very simple.
For some people.
The day-to-day. Yeah.
Right. Or, you know, if you're starting a business and asking for, you know, business, or asking for a referral, or asking for help.
Yeah.
A lot of those,
being open enough to realize you need assistance, and
and
it takes a village.
And kind of like what you were telling me earlier, is the thing that's stopping you is yourself, your ego.
That's all it was.
Your ego is a thing that's going to be stopping you from.
My ego said I was a rough and tough Marine and nothing could stop me, and then I try to do my personal fulfillment, and it's like, oh, myself is what was the problem. And not the problem like that wasn't needed. I needed that
discovery,
that military act. I discovered an old side. I discovered that childlike side again.
Yeah.
You know, and in the desert, I lived in Las Vegas for a year. Following that, I moved to Pahrump, which was an hour west.
Pahrump.
It's a really old school.
Name.
So Nye County, Nevada, it's the only county in the United States that has they have like legal like brothels and such, you know. It was a really interesting
went, right?
podunk type of way. No, I didn't. It was, you don't want that. That's like rubbing dirt on a rock. You don't want that.
Well, they're in Nevada, so.
Yeah. But we had thousands of acres of BLM land, private property.
What's BLM?
Or I mean, public property, non-private. BLM, Bureau of Land Management. So it's just government property.
Gotcha.
It's essentially private. It's non-private public property. So as long as I could be camping out, I could be homeless living there in my camp. And every 14 days, I believe, you have to move a mile or two from that location to a different one. You can camp out 14 days, but it's all public land. So one street over from my house out there, it was just open desert, lake bed, really cool. So you go out, you camp out at the lake bed, only a few miles from home, you know, still getting to that level of comfort and security, knowing your home's right there.
Yeah.
But you can escape. You can really find those areas of the mind that are untouched and those new discoveries, you know. And with me, it was like, okay, let's just keep it simple. Let's reduce all things and material. If I was in a room by myself for eternity, what would I do? And I was like, oh, I'd probably paint on the walls. And I had this, the light went off. And I said, okay, I guess I'll paint.
Yeah.
And it was that simple.
That's
I wouldn't say it's simple in the sense that the buildup wasn't complicated. There was a lot of runaround, you know.
Yeah.
But when it popped, I knew it.
Yeah.
It was it. It came from my spine and shot up, you know, and it was a really cool feeling.
I think
it's really empowering, you know.
If I were to be stuck in a room for eternity,
what would you do?
I think I'd want to be in a party. I think I'd see myself with a group of friends hanging out,
me too,
around a campfire and
I do too. But that freedom only came through painting on the walls.
Yeah.
So I could be painting on the walls and they could be chilling like we are here. That was what was so cool about this space.
Yeah.
You know, in the springtime, this store's going to open up. We're going to have a little fire out there, a little patio seating, and live music. And, you know, we are creating that party.
Right.
What situation and scenario do I want to put my presence in every single day? And it was, you know.
Right.
I wouldn't say that it has to be this extreme. It doesn't have to be a building or a location or a business. It can be, you know, damn, I'm kind of lazy making my bed in the morning, but then you make your bed 5 days in a row. Yeah. You know, that's still self-empowerment. Mm-hmm. The level of, you know, 0 to 100 doesn't matter. It's just that decision to change and make choices and be conscious.
Yeah. And also too, for me, it was not something I necessarily discovered overnight. I feel like what happened for me is I had almost trials where I kind of talk about this in my first podcast, where I basically I didn't break down, but I essentially was I'm not fulfilled, I'm not happy. The things that I'm doing are not bringing me, you know, motivation, and I don't feel inspired, and
they should give more than they take.
You know, that it factor.
There was something there missing, lacking.
Yeah. And, you know, at that point, you know, prayed to God, and I was like, hey, you know, is there anything or something that I can be doing that will make me happy for the rest of my life?
You finally called out.
And through a few months, I mean, it didn't happen overnight.
But you start to get trickles.
Yeah.
Things start to add up.
And and what I found it through was actually through business, through personal development and getting better. Because one of the things that I discovered was that, you know, one of the reasons that I wasn't fulfilled is because I wasn't me necessarily.
No, you were thinking what you could do to get responses out of people to match up with what you thought was you.
Right.
And it wasn't wrong of you to think those things and do those things because in the moment you thought that was you.
Right.
But we have to go through that kind of recollection and figure out, ask questions, call out to God, you know.
Yeah.
Call out to something, maybe it'll respond, maybe it won't, you know.
Yeah.
It did for me, it did for you, it might for them. So
Right. And then from there is that snowball effect where, you know, this is 5 or 6 years ago, long time.
You get the chin scratcher synchronicities and you're like, what was that, you know? And it starts to give faith to what you're doing.
Yeah, and then I just, you know, I adhered to, you know, an idea, a methodology, and fortunately I was able to connect with a great group of people who was really able to kind of put me in touch with what I needed, which was reading. I read books. I, you know, listened to other podcasts, listened to other really successful people who have successful lives. And what's one of the best ways to get what you want is to find the people that have what you want, listen to them, and then do what they're doing.
Yeah. It's that simple. It is.
Yeah.
But knowing we have to do those acts, we still have to be
Right.
in those moments.
Nobody's going to do it for you.
No, we have to knock on that door, make that phone call.
Yeah.
You know, do that thing, send that email, you know, send that text message nowadays, whatever.
Whatever
it
it
takes
is.
something.
Right.
Like, you might know, but through knowing, you still have to act on it. You still have to
Right.
do the thing necessary to get you one step closer to that realization.
Right.
That's the goal, though. We have the realization. What steps can I put in place to get to that realization? To make that realization possible. It's already happened. It's out there. Your future self is there. It's there. We're not going to put attention and emotion into that, though. We have to figure out what we're going to do today to get
Right
there.
now.
Because we know it's coming. But it's a matter of doing that one thing today, you know. And I've read a book called The One Thing, and it was excellent, you know. The one thing I can do today to benefit myself for tomorrow,
Yeah.
based on that decision-based goal or whatever you want to do, you know. Lose 10 pounds, gain 5 pounds. You know,
Whatever that is.
walk through the grocery store without being triggered because you've been assaulted in the past. You know, we can talk on PTSD and art therapy. That's why I'm in this, you know, and it touches into all of these types of topics we're talking about, you know. It's cool.
Yeah.
Everything's intertwined.
And that's why, and kind of getting back to the flow state, or you know, as I was kind of talking about the book Power of Now earlier, is that, you know, once you discover, find that thing that you want to do, and then being attentive to what it is that you're doing in the present moment, and focusing on, you know, what's going on right now, right? Because trying to, you know, figure out that conversation that you're going to have later, it's not going to go exactly the way that you pictured it in your mind.
Not at all.
But to, you know, whether it's to, you know, read more information on it, or to prepare, you know, there's things that people can be doing, or that I do at least, to help at least get me to those goals. And I found that, you know, the power of now, or, you know, being in the present moment, or the flow state, is something that has, you know, had a tremendous impact.
That's why we have to utilize the knowledge we've received, you know, through books or even meditation, and the wisdoms received, you know. It's, we still have to take those things and implement them and utilize them, and kind of create a right now type of situation where, okay, you want a business, what's the first thing you do? You know, and then start to go through the steps of what's most important to you and what you need to do. It is decision based, but it's through this kind of spontaneity of what makes me happy or what makes me tick, you know, and finding that thing is most important, you know, or that, not even that thing, but what brings you into that state of mind that allows you to be fully conscious, you know. Specifically, just painting for me brings me into the present moment fully, all immersive. Might not be that way for other people, but maybe being a mechanic, maybe working with a wrench, you have your hands moving all day, you're very immersed.
Right.
Same thing.
Focus.
So we want to reiterate that over and over, that it doesn't matter what you do, but be fully conscious of it.
Yeah.
Be aware of what you do, and those decisions will improve day to day and become refined, and you'll get this singularity of confidence and well-being and
flow.
That's it.
Yeah.
Living in the flow is living in life, and taking spontaneity for what it is, and being granted for it, you know.
Yeah.
Granted the opportunities to just wake up and breathe air, you know. Who the fuck cares how many text messages or emails you have, or how many likes you got on Instagram or Facebook? Can you wake up and smile at yourself? Do you enjoy the human being, you know, the flesh that you're trapped in?
Yeah.
You know, we're not these bodily flesh balls with a spirit. We're spirits that are within a flesh ball. So in this moment, we might as well take care of it and have fun with it. You know? What do you enjoy within this flesh ball?
Right.
this chunk of flesh. You know, we're spirits. You can't get around it. You know, we're all connected. There's hey, I was just about to call it. These aren't just random happenings or coincidences. They're synchronicities.
Yeah.
And people are on the same wavelengths. You know what I mean? And like you reaching out and being consistent, we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
We have a common purpose for humanity. It can be that simple or that grand, however you think of that sentence, but we're just here talking and shooting the shit and leading by example and showing how to be. We're just being. We're just chilling.
Yeah, we're doing
nothing special. We're just doing it though, and this is the art behind it. The painting is just putting the pen to canvas and moving your hand a bunch.
Yeah.
A
couple times.
So you have to be just confident and patient in those moments too. So it's almost too simple that it becomes complicated for people.
Right. So for me, it was kind of difficult to find or discover, to kind of break through that barrier, and it took quite a bit, of almost like, personal struggle to come out and actually ask her, for that
rock bottom.
What did that look like for you?
For me, it was reaching out, but I think to my own self. I mean, I was just being eaten up alive, thinking that the position or the job that I was in was the way I was supposed to be doing things, and I didn't really understand that until I got into meditative practice, because then I could go through and reconcile past emotions and experiences and really start to work through the web of who is I, who's me, who's that person in my head telling me this is right, this is wrong, we all have that moral compass, and it was really just going through, I think, my own process of figuring out who I was and sitting in like how I am now, half lotus. It's just the way I sit now. But before, it was that sort of checking the box for, sat for 10 minutes today. But within those 10 minutes, I was just learning how to be fully present. That's all it ever was. And a lot of people go, well, I don't need to meditate. You might not need to. Or this sense of sitting meditation, zazen, because you might be doing it in your day-to-day because you love what you do. Remind yourself that, and you'll feel good about it.
Right.
It's that self-positivity, that self-talk, and our thoughts do have power again. And that's, I think, a building of that over the last year. You see your hardships and your past experiences as not downfalls, but as strengths. I overcame that. I can now handle that again in the future. I don't need to worry about it. Let me see what is next on the list.
Right.
And eventually, going through your little mental list and your mental chatter, you arrive at nothingness.
Right.
And that's the being non-being. You can only create in that non-being state,
Yeah. So how did you discover all of, the information that you know?
Man. Yeah, that's a lot. Definitely a building process with, I think, experiencing my own experiences first, and then being led through informational resources. If you go on Google, YouTube, Facebook, you look at different groups, you look at different people's beliefs. I've realized that everybody's got a little bit of truth within their pledge, or whatever they're standing for. There is truths within everything, and I wanted to experience a wide variety of life and belief and experience, and kind of hone it all into one fine-tuned sort of perception on life, knowing that all experiences are one, and one is all. So it was
it seems like
so many layers. It's hard to put words to an experience or a feeling,
right?
Well,
to me, it's from what I'm hearing, it sounds like a lot of your journey has been pretty much a lot of self-discovery.
It was,
which fortunately has turned out for the best, which is a really good thing.
Absolutely, but it didn't come without dark times.
Right.
We have to take the dark and the light two as equals.
Yeah,
you can't have one without the other.
For some people who might be going through dark times right now, where depression is so prevalent now in today's society. What would you say something that helped you maybe go from those dark times, and then being able to have the strength or the courage to, not only the fact that you found a passion, the thing that you love, but you actually then went ahead and did it.
Yeah. I think it's repetition, just like in weightlifting and bodybuilding and training, and there takes the repetition, and after a while it becomes seamless and kind of natural. Or
so it was like forced at first.
Yeah, you sort of have to jam it in at first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It does take a little assertive effort because you're causing change. You're causing
and it makes your body, whether you're in dark times or not, changing what your body does is uncomfortable. That change is uncomfortable. It's intended to feel uncomfortable.
Because you got to think, even if we are enjoying life, we still have to learn to enjoy life and be happy. Just as people that are sad all the time, they've kind of been addicted to the feeling of depression. Once you start to feel good things happening, you have to realize them and learn that they make you feel uncomfortable because they are outside of your comfort zone, because you're used to being a negative, depressive type, or where bad things are always happening. Why me? You have to learn how to feel good, and that was my problem. I needed to learn how to feel okay, and when I did feel okay, to embrace them, because I knew they weren't going to be there forever, and it was okay when they go, and dark times come, and then dark times go, good times come again. But I needed to learn that contentment in the center.
Right.
The center was where I talked about repetition. It was
enjoying the day almost. And that almost comes back to the present moment too.
Yeah. But the power and the willpower behind the change that I inflicted on my life was because I was able to return attention to my breath, which brings you back to the current moment, which within the current moment figures shit out. Yeah, it grounds you. Yeah.
You're breathing.
And we don't need to put excess
touch.
Labels and things on top of this. You're just being grounded back to current experience. And that's what life is. Life is within this experience.
Can you explain what that grounding is?
Yeah, I would definitely say that it's a equanimity or a homeostasis within body, mind, and spirit. So you have your body, your physical touch, you have your mind, your analytical, left side brain, and then you have your spirit. Your spirit is the higher consciousness, or that sort of collective consciousness that we all feel and operate on. But that's why law is law, but we all have that moral path code where obviously murder is bad.
Right.
We feel that regardless of what a book says or law says.
Right.
That's collective consciousness. Our collective consciousness is to not pull out a knife and kill you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's collective consciousness. We all feel that. Where does that come from? Who's telling you that that's right or wrong?
Some would say through evolutionary.
Those questions in our higher consciousness. You know? And it was just diving into those things and experiences and thoughts, and that kind of that area to allow me to ask questions again, because I was shoved into
it's okay to ask questions.
It is, even to yourself. Research it yourself. Utilize technology for the greater good, and research things. Read books. Read the Book of Enoch. Read the Emerald Tablets. These are old ancient scriptures that are around and available that offer insight on some old mentalities of humanity, and you can bring that around and refine it and play with it. But altogether, learning these things, going through this research, finding the self, it all just comes back to willpower and self-confidence. Being able to do and have confidence in doing the things you need to do to build a better life.
Right. Yeah. Where I personally have not read any religious scriptures or
these are
books or things like that. I really haven't.
Some call them taboo.
Right. So, but from what I hear though is that, I can't speak on every single one. Yeah. Because the one that I learned when I was growing up was the Bible. Yeah. But whether you believe in it or not, there is some value. There is value, tangible value that you can get out of reading one of these. I guess the Bible, because of the almost like that moral compass that you were talking about, which just kind of helps instill that, and then also kind of kind of help instill some of that because a lot of these things too require faith. Not, faith in yourself, faith and belief that what you're doing is right. And riding it out, because the best things in life are not free. They
don't come easy.
The best things they take a lot of work. Granted, there are those situations where some people are fed from a silver spoon, and there's people who definitely get blessed in life for for things like that. Although for most people like us, where we came from humble beginnings. Exactly. That which just because you start out in one area in life does not necessarily mean that you're going to end up in that same spot where you have complete control and power over yourself.
Yeah, you're not obligated to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago.
Exactly.
You could have walked in and said, "Hey, I'm voting for this person." 20 minutes later, you say, "I've changed my mind. I'm voting for this." That's our freedom.
Right.
As humans, not Americans. I'm not talking borders here. I'm talking just all humans. We have that ability to change our minds, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And putting your foot down and having confidence in that.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, this job might have took a lot of effort to get. It's not serving my higher self anymore. What do I need to do this?
Right. Where it's just,
Yeah. No,
and
awesome.
and for everybody too, everybody's gonna have their own journey, right? And so through this podcast, and one of the things I actually, because we were talking about how I wanted to intro it. Yeah. I wanted to do I forgot what I wanted to do when we just started.
Colin Wheatley podcast.
That is it. But the reason I had this show started was to help, to inspire, to help motivate. If I can help motivate one other person,
just one,
in some form or fashion, to become or to join and to create their own happiness,
purpose, and happiness from within, and that happiness isn't relied upon outside sources.
Right.
It's all within. You wake up and feel fulfilled every
100%.
morning. Yeah.
And it's 100%. It is 100% you. And whatever form that would take, we had a joke and it was funny. You laughed, made your day better. Mm-hmm. That's a win.
That's all it takes.
I'm not looking for
one small win a day.
I'm not looking for any significant change right away. Nope. And so, from being able to take away anything is, it's a win in my book.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's literally at the end of the day.
Yeah, because it's compounding.
That's the end of the day.
Compounding efforts, do create your reality. What are you doing every single day? That creates your reality.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's. I wish people wouldn't overcomplicate it, but I've also overcomplicated it many times, and the reminder and the consistency on just, once again, returning that attention to present moment experience. That's all we need.
Yeah.
From there, the higher self comes out.
So, thanks.
Juicy bad boys.
They are juicy. Very juicy. So what does that higher self or purpose look like for you?
For me, it was service outside of self and greater than self. So waking up, ensuring that the individuals that choose to spend their time around me on their day-to-day, I'm not lowering their experience or expectations or reality.
So
I'm hopefully inviting a little bit of spark or enlightenment, enlightening you,
joy.
Taking some weight off your shoulders, bringing some joy to you.
Right.
That's enlightenment, being weightless, feeling good, feeling light and happy, but we have to learn to feel these things,
Right.
So through my day-to-day, it's, okay, I was caught in that mood. I wasn't happy, or whatever the case may be, but knowing that you were still pulled outside of yourself for whatever reason, just being confident of, or conscious of that thing that pulled you away, coming back, thinking about it, looking at it objectively, seeing how it affected you. Did it serve me? Yes. Did it serve me? No. Move on to the next thing. Once you make that decision, you can cut it clean.
Right.
But that confidence behind cutting it clean and moving forward and leaving it for the wind. This doesn't serve me. Leave it for the wind.
Yeah.
This does serve me. Keep that. But we're not clenching it. Oh, I'm never letting this go. If it goes, it goes. Let it go. We have to learn to move with the tides.
Times change,
and that's flow, though. That's the flow. There's that balance in that.
And then also too, you might find something that didn't work for you in the past, then worked for you.
Or did and now it doesn't, or did and doesn't and now it did. Yeah.
So tell us about what you're doing with the vets in the gallery.
So really, I wanted to replicate my personal experiences and understanding that in the Marine Corps you get pulled away from self a lot for other tasks and purposes, which aren't meaningless, but they have their own rhyme and reason. When you get back home, you're relaxing, you realize, I'm twiddling my thumbs, what do I want to do?
Right.
You know, from there it was like, what do I want to do? I don't know. Well, I finally figured out the state of being I wanted to live in through meditative practice, which it doesn't have to be done that way, but that feeling and that being is what I wanted to replicate. So I wanted to choose, what do I do to increase the amount of times I feel that type of way or that being. You know, I enjoyed it. I want to do more of that.
Do it again.
And I was instilling it within myself. It was non-side effects, you know, no side effects. I wasn't losing teeth or whatever.
Good.
So I learned how to be in the moment.
Right.
And that alone was the therapy that allowed me to get better. I mean, it's okay to say you've healed or gotten better or, you know, lived in a state of anxiety and angst your whole life or hypervigilance, and now it breaks. We can change and move forward and know that served us for a time being, but it no longer does.
Right.
And I want that philosophy and mentality to be transferred to veterans, you know. A lot of veterans, first responders, guys, you know, a lot of guys. Haven't had many guys come into the classes yet, but they're the ones, they need it. They're the ones that are putting up these walls and these expectations, and, you know, they have the mind chatter, but they can't express it because they're told if they do, they're a baby or a sissy, and they're called these names and put into these boxes. So art for me allowed me to express and experience reality for what it was, you know.
Yeah.
And through that, I found myself, whatever that self was.
Happiness.
Doesn't need labels, but that self was a feeling inside, that happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. That knowing you're serving
too.
Others. Yeah. It was self-inflicted.
Right.
Happiness.
In a good way.
Yeah. Self-inflicted happiness.
It's something that you found, that you discovered, that you created, and you were not told.
Yeah. Exactly.
I feel like, and that's a huge thing too. I feel like for me, for a lot of people, is the difference of doing something that makes you happy because you have to do it and because you want to do it.
100%.
Two completely different things. Like, you know, I have friends who, you know, work in certain areas, and these are things that they are passionate about. Although once you start to put that have to next to it, it kind of creates that, like, you know,
adds a little edge.
Yeah, it reduces that that creativity to it. Yeah,
you just want to get it over with.
Right. Yeah. Versus now, where you're painting and you're doing it on your own time and you're creating, and it's not only providing value to you, but it's providing value to you know, all the people that are around you.
Yeah, it gives more than
and
it
that's
takes.
like that symbiotic relationship that you have with the world. Which makes you happy, makes the world happy, and then that helps, you know, everyone.
Yeah.
And for, you know, for anybody to find out how create and discover what that even might be, that balance almost.
Yeah, balance in life, you know.
Balance in life, balance in fulfillment, balance in your relationships, balance in everything.
And not getting so caught up in time and space and got to be here at this time, got to be here at this time, got to be running around, the runaround. Yeah, we don't need it, you know. You can deal with it, play the game all you want, that's okay, but be conscious of playing the game.
Right.
I chose to play this game. I'm playing it. It's your choice, you know, your chance.
Enjoy the game.
Yeah.
I was actually I was on Instagram a little earlier. There's this one podcast I listen to. He's a tried and true sales guy. His name's Brad Lee, and it's interesting that you brought up the game, you know, the game of life almost, because I was actually watching a video that he posted almost right before I even stepped over here, and he had he was talking to somebody who was fulfilled in what they were doing, and it was a job, and the game that they were playing at the job was changing, right? The people who owned the corporation were changing the game, right? And it made them frustrated because they were, happy and content before, making great money, and then things changed, the game changed, and now they're not happy, right? And so in that sort of scenario, unfortunately, they were playing, and for a lot of people too, we essentially are playing in a game inside others, somebody else's game almost.
Absolutely.
And one of the beautiful things that you were able to do is to basically break down the games, essentially, instead of having to be, trying to do this and trying to do this and trying to do this.
Absolutely.
You're able to basically simplify it, break it down into something that you created.
Find the value.
Yeah, exactly.
Get rid of the noise, find the value.
And you were able to build your own, and which provides a lot more control.
Cool.
And control is the thing that really
control without effort.
Control with effort, for sure.
It takes attention,
right?
But we don't want to grasp it to where if it disappears, we're heartbroken.
Right.
We don't want to become attached to the effort.
Right.
We just want to do it because that's our act for the day. Keep it simple. Keep it zen.
Your choice.
Yeah.
Right. And that kind of the control factor is
control. Just trigger words though. It depends how everybody hears the word control and hears it differently.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And then the things that you're able to create too, basically just kind of broke down all barriers and borders, and literally you didn't have to create anything. You didn't have to do any of these. No. And you could have done them in any other way that you could have, although you did them the way that you did it.
But this is the way they are,
And this is the way that they are, and they're doing well.
Yeah.
Which is a really good thing.
Really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I really do. That's awesome.
So, do you have any shout outs or for any of your next classes or?
I'm good. Yeah. This Saturday, March 14th, we have a little St. Patty's Day class going on. We'll be playing with some shamrock shaped shit, but we'll go from there. I really appreciate you having me on. And
absolutely.
Awesome conversation, awesome topics, awesome talking points, awesome everything, man. This is nothing but good vibes, and you're going to do great things.
Great.
I'm really
appreciate it. I hope so. What is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Instagram, Facebook. We have the Gallery Lounge NY, Facebook and Instagram, or thegalleryloungeny.com. That's our URL for just our website. It's always changing, always updating, always adjusting, and just trying to get as much information on there as possible. So be on the lookout for whatever comes in the future. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's really cool. Yeah.
So I'll be posting all that information in the bio.
Cool.
For you. So this has been Wheatley Podcast, episode 5, where we try and what we do is
we shake you awake a little bit. We bring you back here. Take a deep breath.
We focus on the things that matter, and the things that matter are the little things, and enjoying life and being happy with the little things.
Taking care of mind, body, and spirit, and not getting onto a religious tangent or whatnot. Everybody has their own way, but knowing that within their own ways, we're all interconnected. We're all doing the same thing. Let's just drop the labels. Let's drop the ignorance, and let's just enjoy life. I mean, it's beautiful sunny day.
Honestly,
I know Palmyra's booming right now.
Yeah, it feels really nice.
I mean, just nothing but high vibrations and good vibes for what's coming for this place. We got a big garage door right here that's going to be open in the springtime, and live music, fire, nothing but live painting, art. Come on down. It's really cool.
So it's those little things that add up and make the big difference. And
they do. They compound.
Make the big things. Make
snowball
the big things
effect.
Happen.
If we have to talk on anything for the day, it's the snowball effect. It's these little actions today will grow and compound over tomorrow's actions and whatnot. But the faith in those processes are what they are, and just keep the attention now.
Right.
Don't worry about them. Have faith in them. Don't worry about them.
So, and then just remember this too, that you're awesome, that you're amazing.
You are.
That you can do anything that you set your mind to. you have a tremendous, number of people that believe in you, that have faith in you, and you can do it. Anything is possible. Just connect with the right people.
Absolutely.
If you want to connect, reach out to us. Reach out to either
Please
the gallery or
Please
reach out to me, and definitely let's get things going. Let's make life happen. Let's enjoy it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It's simple.
Exactly.
Just live, man. Just live. Take a deep breath.
Exactly. So this has been Wheatley Podcast. Please like if you enjoyed it, share if you connected with it, and leave a comment, leave a review, leave something positive for the show or
Thank
for
you,
other
guys.
people. Appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your night. Peace. There it is.